The head of the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, Philippe Lazzarini, has said that Gaza is now, in his words, a kind of unlivable wasteland, with as much as 70% of its infrastructure destroyed. He said more than 300 humanitarian workers had been killed and 600,000 children were unable to go to school. Meanwhile, the United Nations has said the first aid in 2 weeks has entered northern Gaza after Israel received a strongly worded warning from the United States about the humanitarian situation, with a threat to cut off US military assistance. Well, let's talk live now. We can go to the city of Khan Yunis in the Gaza Strip, which is a city that's been largely destroyed during the war between Israel and Hamas. And we can join Sam Rose, who's Deputy Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza. UNRWA is the agency that looks after Palestinian refugees. Thanks so much for being with us. Well, let's talk about the broad picture there, as we were hearing it outlined by Philippe Lazzarini, that it is an unlivable wasteland, in his words. Is that how you see Gaza at the moment?
Yeah, look, the situation here is absolutely catastrophic. There are more destroyed buildings than there are undestroyed buildings, families, children, women, the elderly living way below the minimum thresholds for any kind of dignified life. As I come to work, to the office in the morning, I drive past children scavenging in piles of garbage that are 20 foot high that block out the sun. We see hundreds of thousands of people living in squalor alongside the beach. The daily routine is one for queuing for water, hoping beyond hope that you'll find a toilet, and then at night you pray for that you will get through the night, and the night is dotted with bombardments and bangs and military operations. So yeah, a catastrophe here, whichever way you look at it.
And also, people, even when they're given warnings to leave because of an impending bombardment, they don't really know where to go. They don't know where to go that is safe, do they?
No, I mean, absolutely. It's become a kind of trope to say that nowhere in Gaza is safe. And that's absolutely the case. It bears repeating. In Jabalia, which is encircled right now, reports of people being ordered to evacuate to an area that then itself is under evacuation. And let's not forget, there are many people who either choose not to leave for their own reasons or are simply unable to do so. We had 285 patients in 3 hospitals in northern Gaza a few days ago, many of them under in intensive care on ventilation. What chance, what hope have they got to move, or else where people are being ordered to go to a self-declared safe zone is not safe and has no space. I drive through this area every single day, tents up against the lapping water from the Mediterranean Sea, which may sound nice, but I can assure you it isn't. And that place will not be, it's not livable now. It will be even less so in a couple of weeks when winter sets in. So no choices for these people. 400,000 people right now in northern Gaza have been ordered to leave. Around half of those people are children, let's not forget.
Sam, we heard from the UN that no aid had got into Gaza for a couple of weeks, but that now it is coming in the last 2 or 3 days. Trucks have been coming in with flour and fuel and so on. Do you think that is a response from Israel to this ultimatum that it had from the United States, that it had to allow more aid in, or military aid or some military assistance would be cut off within 30 days?
I mean, I can't really comment on the discussions that are taking place behind the scenes, I'm afraid, Ben. What I can say is that a small number of aid trucks did come into northern Gaza, Gaza City yesterday. We're talking 12 trucks, so that's probably what a small town receives every day in anywhere else in the world. So it's nowhere near the needs that are required. What I can also say is that we welcome this flow. We call for it to be urgently increased, and we call for it to be sustained. And we also have to remember that people can't live on bags of flour alone. We have tens of thousands of children across Gaza, in northern Gaza in particular, that are suffering from acute malnutrition after a year of relentless conflict. Those children need specialized services that can only be provided at health clinics. We cannot operate those health clinics. People cannot reach those health clinics in conditions of heavy bombardment, which is what we're seeing now. Bakeries inside northern Gaza have had to close, so it'll be very difficult for that flour to be used by people. We're hearing that water wells in northern Gaza are also drying up. So we welcome the increased flow in northern Gaza. We're working desperately hard to increase the flow in southern Gaza. But more than anything, we need for this to come to an end. We need for sustained ceasefire, release of hostages, because people can no longer live like this. It's gone beyond anything that we've ever witnessed here in Gaza, and anything that we've seen in decades as a humanitarian community.
Sam, thank you very much for painting such a vivid picture of life and death in Gaza. Sam Rose, their Deputy Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza. UNRWA, the UN agency tasked with providing relief to Palestinian refugees. Thank you very much indeed.